Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be how the narcissist destroys relationships. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So, what is the number one thing the narcissist is good at doing? That's right, destroying relationships, driving wedges between people, ruining people's plans, their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations. The narcissist usually inserts themselves into relationships insidiously, slowly. And before you know it, it's too late. They're already in your life. And once they're in your life and you don't have the wisdom, you don't know what narcissism is, you're in a very vulnerable position. So whether you were born into the relationship, or maybe it was your sibling, or maybe it was your romantic relationship, or a teacher, or a colleague, or roommate, or a friend, whoever it was, the narcissist knew who they were, and they knew who you were way before you knew who you were. Now I'll focus on that for a moment. It's always advantage narcissists in the beginning of these relationships, because let's say, as an example, say you were born into the toxic narcissistic household. Well, one of your parents or both were toxic, maybe even the narcissist. Well, you relied on them to have them bring you up the proper way and to teach you and guide you and steer you away from issues and concerns. And again, if that was your circumstance, that you were born into the toxic narcissistic household, and you're here on the channel and in the community, then you understand that you had a lifetime to this point of toxicity that you have to remove and you have to process and heal from. That's why in virtually every video I create, I suggest to go no contact if you have the ability to do so. If not now, when? If you can't, utilize Grey Rock, but create, develop, and get ready to execute an exit plan if you can do that. But that's one example. And I personally grew up in a very loving household. My parents were absolutely amazing, so I can't speak of the narcissistic parent firsthand. Although I work with so many people during one-on-one sessions, then they did grow up in the household of the narcissist. So going back to what I was mentioning, if that was your situation, or if that was your past, well, you had a disadvantage there because your parent probably was not parenting you properly. They maybe were unavailable, or they weren't giving you credit for doing certain things, or maybe they weren't wanting you to succeed or accomplish certain goals. Example, maybe going to a certain university or learning a certain trade or skill. Maybe they steered you in a different direction because they didn't want your life to thrive. They wanted your life to be stuck where they were stuck. You see, the narcissist is always in competition. They're in competition with their own children, with their spouses, with their siblings, with their parents, with their friends, with the people that they go to work with. They're in competition with everybody on the planet. And that is one of the problems in the mindset of the narcissist. And there are hundreds of thousands of problems in the mindset of the narcissist. But one is they can't get over the fact that they don't need to win everything. And they believe that everything they must win, because they look at relationships as opportunities, and they look at relationships as ways to take advantage of other people. But getting back on track to, as I'm mentioning, why the narcissist destroys, or how the narcissist destroys relationships, this is what they had done once they realized that they could get away with certain things in their youth. Once they realized that there were no consequences for the poor behavior, or they realized that they could get away with things because perhaps their parents weren't parenting them properly. And there are a litany of reasons why and or how the narcissist becomes the narcissist. And I don't believe any one person has the answer. I believe my own take on how the narcissist is created, or how they become themselves. And I'll share that in future videos. But for now, what I will share is the upbringing of the child has an awful lot to do with it. So if you're in a loving, stable, healthy household with boundaries, and you're being taught right from wrong, and you're being supported, and you're being allowed to express yourself, example, cry or get frustrated, or maybe learn boundaries, etc., well, then that you're taught that you're going to have to apply go by the rules. The narcissist doesn't go by the rules. The narcissist makes up their own rules as they go along. That's another concern in their tiny little pea brain. They think that no one will ever figure out who they are. They think that no one will ever see behind the mask, and they think that nobody will ever heal from these narcissistic relationships. That's why the narcissist many times will attempt to hoover people. Maybe after a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, who knows? But remember, you need to become unhooverable. You need to get off the radar of the narcissist, become small, not share information or overshare information with people. You need to have boundaries. You need to understand that there are people out there that don't have your best interest at heart. At the top of that list certainly was the narcissist. And you need to understand that it wasn't just you. The narcissist destroys every relationship they ever encounter, because the narcissist is envious of people. They're jealous of people. They are looking at people as opportunities. They're looking at your empathy as a weakness. They're looking at your ability to love as something that they can manipulate. They're looking at your money as their money, and their money as if they don't have any. And what does the narcissist love more than money? That's right, it's your money. That's why usually when the money runs out, many times the narcissist runs out. This is because these people are parasites and they're looking for a host. They're looking for somebody to take from as much as they possibly can, while that person, which was probably you, it certainly was me, was giving to a fault. And we didn't have boundaries, and perhaps we were a people pleaser. Maybe we did have a high level of empathy. Maybe we did want to improve people's lives because perhaps we were in love with somebody who turned out to be a toxic narcissist and cannot love anybody, including their own family, their own kids, their former relationships, their current relationships. You see, the narcissist is a bottomless pit, and they want to fill that pit up with something that's called supply. And they have an insatiable quest, whatever it is, for supply. Imagine, if you will, you're drinking a water out of your mug as you're listening to this video, and as I'm creating it, with you, present with you, sharing my energy and sharing my thoughts. But the coffee or the water that you're drinking out of the mug, when you finish that, well, there's nothing left in the mug. And you look at the bottom and it's empty. Okay, well, you consumed the water. The narcissist may be drinking out of a different mug, but the bottom of their mug has 3 holes in it. And those holes, the liquid is always going through it. And that's called supply to the narcissist. That's why these people are always looking over their shoulders. That's why they're attempting to hoover at times. That's why they are always have 1 foot in the relationship and 1 foot out of the relationship. That's why they're always, and I mean always, looking for the next new shiny object. They're looking for the next new wave to ride, the next new person to manipulate, the next new person to do what? That's right, to destroy. This is what the narcissist does. This is how they fuel themselves, by keeping people trapped in that zombie-like, trance-like state, which is the narcissistic fog. And when you're in that fog post love bomb / euphoric stage, you don't know what happened, but everything in that relationship flipped on a dime. No longer were you the cute person. No longer could you make proper decisions. No longer, whatever your thoughts or viewpoints were, did they matter. Everything is turned upside down. It's topsy-turvy, because once the narcissist knows that they have you placed in that trauma bond or that narcissistic fog, they begin to destroy the relationship. You probably never thought of it that way, but that's exactly what they're doing. And as they're destroying you and your health and your time and your money and your relationship and your relationships, plural, and your hobbies and everything about you, your mind, your clarity, your energy, your essence, they're trying to destroy you. And as they're doing that, behind the scenes, yes, they were grooming other sources of supply, other people, or they were keeping other people trapped in that fog. This is why the narcissist is on their smartphone so frequently. It's almost as if they have a third arm, which is the smartphone, and it's super glued to their ear, because they need to get supply. They need to get people hooked on them, and they want people to get attached to them. Remember, the narcissist becomes attached to nobody. They cannot fall in love. They have no empathy, and they care about nobody but themselves. But what they need to do is be juggling like a clown at the circus, juggling multiple bowling pins at any one time. And at one period, that was you. You were one of the bowling pins the narcissist was juggling. You may have thought it was just you in the relationship. You need to think again. No matter if you married the narcissist or you were their roommate or their brother, sister, whomever they were juggling multiple relationships. So let's use the brother, sister, or the mom, dad as an example. Let's say that you were helping them financially, and you did it because you were raised in the family, taught that whatever happens in the family stays in the family, and if you have a little extra, you should pay it forward and help out those that don't have as much as you do, meaning your siblings or your parents, etc. Well, if you were guilted into doing that your siblings or parents, maybe they turned out to be toxic, all they were doing was playing on your empathy, playing on your ability to earn more money, and having you donate or improve their circumstances or their lives, because this is what the narcissist does. As I mentioned earlier, they're a parasite. They're looking for a host. They're looking for a gravy train. They're looking for someone to catapult them from one leg of their life to the next leg. And that leg may be a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade. Maybe it was until yesterday when you finally went no contact and blocked these people. But eventually, the narcissist will destroy relationships. They destroy every relationship they ever become a part of. The difference here is some relationships take a long time to heal from, and some people heal quicker. And you may say, well, how does that work and why does that work? Well, there are many different nuances there, but I'll just touch on this briefly. Let's say you were in the relationship for a longer period of time, and say you live with the narcissist, and let's say you actually fell in love with the narcissist. Well, then you have a different level of healing than, let's say, that somebody who dated the narcissist only for a month would have to go through. You still both have to heal. You still both have to process things and figure out what happened to you and how narcissism affected you, and that it is prevalent on the planet and all the things I talk about on the channel. But the person who was living with them for a longer period of time has a different path. That's why it is not one size fits all. That's why not one person on the planet can tell you when you will heal. That's why the healing path is directly contingent upon how much work you place into yourself. And the more work you place into yourself, the stronger you will get. The stronger you will get, the smaller the narcissist will get. The smaller the narcissist will get, the less important they become. The less important they become, the more clarity returns to your mind. The more clarity that returns to your mind, the more you see who they were, what they did, and what their purpose was, and how they tried to destroy not only you, but anything that mattered to you. That is why you really must get the message, and when you can, go no contact and block these people, delete them, remove them, and all fly monkeys and people associated with them. That's what you must do, because being in the proximity or the vicinity of the narcissist for 1 minute longer than you need to once you know who they are, it will never benefit you. It never has benefited anybody in the history of humanity, and it won't benefit you. That's why you really need to break the tethers, the 4 chains, the 4 ties to the narcissist, which include the emotional tie, the financial tie, the physical tie, and the spiritual tie. These ties will be cut, they must be cut, and they will be cut when you are ready. So example, let's say you have 3 of the 4 ties that are cut. Say you have the physical tie cut, say you have the emotional tie cut, and you have the financial tie cut. Well, you have the spiritual tie to be cut. That's gonna take time. It's gonna take practice, it's gonna take patience, it's gonna take understanding, it's gonna take letting things go, it's gonna take practicing radical acceptance, it's gonna take realizing that there are so many people on the planet that wanna cause destruction and disturbance, and the narcissist is at the top of that list. So how or why the narcissist destroys relationships? It's because it gives them supply, it gives them control. When they meet people, i.e. the narcissist, when they meet people, let's say it's a budding romantic relationship. What they do is they put that mask on and they assimilate themselves with the other person, who probably or maybe was you. You have your guard down because you weren't taught about narcissism in school, so you have no idea what's going on. You probably were an open book. You were sharing, you were probably oversharing. You were letting them know about your past romantic relationships. You were letting them know about your relationships with your siblings and with your parents and your job and occupation and your investments and what you wanted to do and where you went to vacation and what your hobbies were. You basically told them everything. And when you told them everything, you gave them the keys to abuse you. You gave them the keys to manipulate you. You gave them the levers and the buttons to be pulled and pressed on how to keep you stuck and trapped in that narcissistic fog. Now, I'm not trying to trigger you or upset you. I'm telling you exactly what these people do. And the more education you get, the more awakened and aware you become, the more educated and empowered you become, and the more you realize that you should be fortunate and grateful to be out of that relationship. Because when you were in it, you were in the spin cycle of abuse. You were in the deep end of destruction. You were in the cesspool of manipulation, and all of your resources were being depleted and decimated left, right, and center. That's why many times people lose contact or they lose relationships with their immediate family members, with friends, with besties, with people in hobby groups, with people they used to be in communities or organizations with. It's not because those people are necessarily toxic, although they could be. It's because those people can't wrap their head around what you went through, and perhaps they were drinking the Kool-Aid of the smear campaign. Perhaps they were believing that what the narcissist said about you is true. But I'll flip it again. Maybe they just don't understand one thing about humanity because they're living in the everyday fog, and that's okay. The thing is, anybody who tells you something like this, it's no big thing. It's been 6 months, it's been a year, you should get out dating by now. I don't know what the problem is. I know you're having such concerns, but get over it. What's the problem? Anyone who says things like that to you, and I'm sure you've heard things like that and many other things, all it means is they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what you went through. And my hope is they never will know what you went through, because going through the narcissistic abusive cycle, it twists you inside out. It takes you high and drops you low. You're on a roller coaster of emotions without a seatbelt. And all of a sudden, one day, that roller coaster gets off track, and that's called the ending of the relationship. Whether you were discarded or you ended it yourself, either way you cut it, my heart goes out to you, but the relationship ended. And when you don't have a safety belt or a seat belt on that roller coaster of manipulation or destruction, you don't know what's going on. You don't know how far you're gonna fall. You don't know where the bottom of the abuse will end. You don't know the darkest days are right in front of you or ahead of you. You have no idea what's going on and what happened to you. What you do know is that relationship ended, and there's a huge void that must be filled by you. And it can only be filled by you. That's why you need to journal, you need to meditate, you need to read, you need to heal childhood wounds, maybe see a therapist, watch videos. You need to stay insulated in that cocoon of boundaries and focus on yourself and drown out the toxicity, drown out the noise, and really go to work on yourself. And you really need to practice radical acceptance when that time has approached or is approaching. And that's when you wrap your head around what narcissism is, you understand the definitions, you know the glossary, you know the terms, and you couple that with your experience when you're in that relationship. And that equals what? You should know it by now. That's right, that equals wisdom. And this wisdom is a newfound superpower. It will change your life for the betterment. You may not see it right now, but it will improve your life exponentially once you break the ties, once you go no contact, and once you focus on yourself. And of course, you heal, and you heal properly. And also when you identify who the people were that you surrounded yourself with, and how the narcissist could infiltrate your life. Once you wrap your head around all of those, and it will take time, it will take a lot of time, but in your time you will do that. And my hope is you will heal, and you will reach the pinnacle of a difference. When you do that, you realize that you don't think like everybody. You don't think even one millionth the way you used to think before you were in that relationship. And you're not going to be able to click or resonate with many people, because many people are in the everyday fog, which I mentioned so frequently recently on videos. I used to be there myself. Most people on the planet are there. Then you have the toxic narcissist, and then you have the people who came through the cycle of abuse, i.e. the narcissistic abusive cycle, and who have healed and put themselves back together. And we, the few, the strong, the proud, the people who have risen through the ashes like a phoenix and actually done the hard work, had the sleepless nights, gained weight, lost weight, couldn't even turn a light switch on it sometimes, and were left for you-know-what by the side of the road, crumpled up like a sheet of paper. We're the people who have healed. We're the strongest people on the planet. And you may say, isn't that a little brash, Andrew? Why would you say something like that? Well, if you walked a day in my shoes and you spent 2 years and 2 days isolated during one of the most challenging times known to humanity, and you had to put yourself back together by yourself with not one person knocking on your door, not one person checking in on you, knowing that the toxic narcissist did that to you intentionally so you wouldn't exist, then you'd know exactly how hard you had to fight, or I had to fight, to get where I am. And that's what you've done, or that's what you're doing, just in a different time frame, I'm almost certain. But having said this, we're all on the healing path. We are all headed in the same direction, simply taking different footsteps. You may be 100 yards in front of me, maybe you're a mile behind me, maybe you're walking right by side, but we are all headed to that mountaintop, that pinnacle of indifference. And that is an abundant place. That's where things change for you. That's where the doors of opportunity are presented to you. That's where the doors of possibility are kicked wide open. And of course, the doors of abundance are flung wide open. And that is rarefied air. There is room there for you, and for those of us who have healed. There is no room for people in the everyday fog because they don't know what's going on, and there's no room for toxicity because the toxicity is way below. It's in the mantle of the Earth's core. It's not even below your shoe in the dirt any longer. It's lower than that. It's in that fiery pit of inferno, Dante's inferno, if you will. That's where the narcissist is, and that's where they wanted to keep you stuck and trapped, which is why when you're healing, many times you will be screaming carnal screams, or journaling, or crying, or perhaps you experience the angry stage, saying to yourself, why me? I don't get this. Why does this hurt so much? What's going on? I can't understand this. What's going on? Well, there are multiple layers there. I'll just share this because I don't want to say too much about that. But the point is, that means that you were in a toxic relationship. It means you need to slow your life down. It means you have to heal. And it means that if you stay on the path, if you stay on the course, and you continue to focus on yourself, moving forward every day, go no contact, block, journal, do everything I'm suggesting and more, that one day you will actually get to that mountaintop of indifference. One day you will heal. That is my hope. That's what I've done, and that's what I've helped so many other people do, to get to a place that they didn't know that existed as they were coming out of a place that they never knew existed, meaning coming out of the narcissistic abusive relationship / fog and all the toxicity, and heading towards the abundant place of growth, of possibility, of promise, and of the future, and of abundance, and that's the pinnacle of indifference. You see, when you're in these relationships, you don't think there's any way out, and you keep on giving to a fault, working on the relationship, working for the relationship, and specifically working for the narcissist. That relationship was being destroyed every single minute. You just didn't know it. Maybe your instincts, your intuition was telling you something was wrong and it was off, and probably that's what happened, because it certainly happened with me, but you didn't have the education, so you didn't know what to do. Example, you didn't know what triangulation was, you didn't know what the smear campaign was, you didn't know that people could actually give you misdirections, which means tell you things that were wrong on purpose. You didn't know that somebody could actually hide their keys in their house and have you run around looking for their car keys for 2 hours when they knew exactly where they were, and they were getting supply from watching you help them, and all they were doing is chewing up your time, wasting your energy on a smartphone, texting saying they can't find the keys, but they're watching you look for them and ripping your hair out of your head because you want to help them out so badly, and they're just looking at you smirking saying, oh, I didn't know they were right here the whole time, and they pull them out of their pocket. And then you're like, what? Again? Yes, these are the games of the narcissist. These are the mind games of the narcissist. And this is how the narcissist destroys relationships, because they want to control people. They want to confuse people. They want to manipulate people, and they want to keep people stuck and trapped in that narcissistic fog. And it wasn't just you. There were so many people before you, and there will be so many people after you. That's why you really need to become small. Get off the radar of the narcissist. Understand they did their best to destroy you, your life, the relationship, and the relationships with so many other people, and not even counting your time, your energy, your money, your health, where you live, what you do, your clarity, etc. They try to destroy it all, but they couldn't do it, because you're getting the wisdom on the channel, in the community. You're reading the comments, or you're dropping comments, you're paying it forward. When your cup is full, you're helping people. This is when you can take a class, teach a class, read a book, write a book. You can travel the world. You can regrow old relationships that weren't tainted too much by the narcissist. If those people are not in communication with the narcissist, you can fall in love again. You can do whatever you want to do once you've healed. But if you haven't healed, and you will know when you've healed, if you haven't healed, I really strongly suggest you stay in that cocoon of boundaries and work on yourself and focus on yourself until you are ready, until you are able to spread your wings and fly and reach that pinnacle of indifference, that mountaintop of indifference, where all these beautiful hawks are waiting for you. They're circling from above saying, come up to where we are. This is the abundance. This is where we are. This is where we will watch over you until you arrive where we are. And that's the path. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. Remember that, you are not alone. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. And understand this, I realize tonight or today is a holiday. Maybe wherever you are, it's about to be New Year's Eve, or meaning it's going to turn midnight. Maybe it's already turned midnight. Maybe it will in a couple hours. Point being is, if you are considering or thinking about the narcissist right now on New Year's Eve, I get it, I understand. Holidays are very challenging when you are in the relationship with the narcissist, and at times they're even more challenging post-relationship, specifically if the relationship ended recently. But understand something, there's a reason you're here watching the video. There's a reason you're consuming it. There's a reason you'll play it, and you'll play it a few times probably. It's to get your cup full. It's to reassure you that you are where you're supposed to be, which is away from the narcissist. It's away from the toxicity. You see, that relationship you were in, it would never improve. It could never improve, and it won't ever improve as long as there's one toxic person in it, which was the narcissist. So example, let's say that your relationship ended recently. Yes, you may still be missing the narcissist. I get it. Maybe you're still thinking about them. Maybe you haven't blocked them or gone no contact yet. I get it all. I understand it. But please continue to get educated. Please continue to stay on the path, and please continue to understand that you are needed, you are valuable, you're precious, you're cherished. We honor you. We want you on the planet. We want you healing. We want you as far away from toxicity as possible. And you may say, well, why are you saying we, Andrew? You're only one person. You're right, I am only one person. I'm talking about all of us who've reached the pinnacle of indifference, all of us who have done the hard work, all of us who have healed, and we are now at that mountaintop. We are now reaching all of our arms down, and we are really, really trying our best to help lift you up, to get you where you need to be, you will be, and you soon are arriving at if you haven't already. So again, I'm going to share this before I close the video. I know it's challenging times. I know we're exiting the holidays for the most part, and there's still some other holidays approaching. But Maintain no contact. Block these people. Don't give them a bit of your energy. Leave them in the past. Continue to heal and realize that the journey is a marathon. It's not a sprint. There is no magic pill that you can consume. There's no magic wand that can be waved. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can tell you when you will heal. There's no course. There's no class. There's not one person on the planet that can tell you definitively when you will heal. You will know when you've healed, and you will know when you feel better, and you will know when you wake up in the morning you're not thinking about the narcissist, or you're not wondering when the divorce will go through, or child custody, etc. You will know when you're at that mountaintop, that pinnacle. And believe me when I tell you, it's an abundant place and there's more than enough room for you. So again, if tonight's a challenging night for you, or this period of time is a challenging time, continue to journal, continue to meditate, continue to focus on yourself, maintain no contact, and continue to understand the days will improve. The sun will rise tomorrow. Your energy will return in time. Your clarity is already returning. And use the tools that are provided for you on the channel and in the community. And for those of you who have healed, and you're coming back to the channel to keep your cup full, and you're dropping comments on the videos, please continue to do so. You have no idea how much you're helping the community. You have no idea your words, your perspective, your experiences, how they can shine a light and give somebody a light bulb moment that perhaps you will never actually meet in real life. Continue to pay it forward. And the reason why I ask that is because at one time you were helpless. At one time you were in the fog. At one time you didn't know what narcissism was. At one time, yes, you were the new supply. And at one time you did not know which direction to go in. And that, unfortunately, is so many people right now. So as I'm creating this video and you're consuming it, there are people, unfortunately, who are being discarded. There are other people who are entering the narcissistic relationship for the first time and they have no idea. And there are other people in between. Point being is, once you get the wisdom, you need to apply the tools. You need to slow your life down, focus on yourself, maintain no contact. And again, if your cup is full and you're strong enough, please drop comments and help the community. Help those people that don't even know that they need help. At one point, that was you, and it certainly was me. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Have a great evening, and I hope you're doing well. From the beautiful Carolinas, I'm sending you a huge heart and a huge virtual hug. Please continue to work on yourselves. You're doing so well. No matter where you are on the journey, don't give up. Don't ever give up. I love you all. God bless you. Bye, everybody.